The drug cartel had made their biggest mistake at 8,000 feet. Captain Maya Rodriguez heard the helicopter's side door slide open, felt the rush of frigid Andean air against her face. Through the black hood, she could sense the three men closing in. They'd been interrogating her for hours in the abandoned warehouse before deciding she knew too much about their operation. "Los Rangers no son tan duros," one of them laughed. "Rangers aren't so tough." Maya's hands were zip-tied behind her back, but her mind was calculating. Wind speed, approximately 40 knots. Temperature, near freezing. Altitude, she'd been counting the pressure changes in her ears. They were high, higher than these amateurs realized mattered. The shove came sudden and brutal. One moment she was on the deck, the next she was tumbling through empty space. They expected her to scream. She didn't. Instead, Maya's training took over with crystalline clarity. She'd done hundreds of halo jumps, high altitude, low opening, and while this wasn't exactly protocol, the principles remained. She rolled her body into a stable position, the hood ripping away in the wind. Her eyes watered from the velocity, but she could see now. Rugged mountains, a dark river snaking through a valley, patches of forest. 40 seconds until impact. Maybe less. The zip ties were cheap plastic. Maya contorted her shoulders, ignoring the pain as she forced her bound wrists under her hips, then her legs. Her wrists were now in front. She bit down on the plastic, twisting and pulling with her teeth and hands simultaneously. The tie snapped. 20 seconds. She straightened her body into a diving position, minimizing drag, picking her target. The river was her best option. Deep enough, she hoped. She'd survived a water landing from altitude before during a training accident in Florida. This was higher, but possible. 10 seconds. Maya streamlined further, arms tight against her sides, body a missile. The ground rushed up impossibly fast. She caught a final breath and... The impact was like hitting concrete. The river was snowmelt, glacial and merciless. The cold punched every molecule of air from her lungs. She plunged deep, the current immediately grabbing her, tumbling her like a rag doll against rocks. But she was alive. Her ranger training had included cold water survival. She forced herself not to gasp, conserved her breath, oriented toward the lighter surface. Her lungs burned as she kicked upward, finally breaking through, gasping, already being swept downstream. She swam for the bank, her muscles screaming, hypothermia already beginning its deadly work. She crawled onto the rocks, collapsed, then forced herself to move. Hypothermia killed faster than the cartel could. Maya staggered into the tree line, found shelter in an overhang, and began the brutal work of staying alive. She moved constantly, generating heat. She found dry moss and used a trick her survival instructor had taught her. Percussion fire starting with rocks. It took 30 minutes of shaking hands and frustrated attempts, but eventually a spark caught. The small fire might give away her position, but it would keep her alive long enough to matter. As warmth slowly returned to her body, Maya assessed her situation. She was somewhere in the Colombian highlands, miles from any friendly forces. The cartel thought she was dead. That gave her an advantage. She'd been tracking this particular cell for 6 months. Los Fantasmas, they called themselves. The ghosts. They'd kidnapped her during a reconnaissance mission gone wrong, killed her partner. They'd been trying to learn how much U.S. intelligence knew about their operations before disposing of her. Now they'd learn what one ranger could do with motivation and training. Over the next 2 days, Maya moved through the mountains like a shadow. She navigated using the stars, foraged sparingly, stayed invisible. She reached a village, borrowed a phone from a frightened farmer, made one call. "This is Sierra 6 Actual. I need extraction coordinates and a favor." 72 hours later, Maya stood in a Colombian military command center, dry and fed, reviewing satellite imagery with her commanding officer. "They think you're dead," Colonel Hayes said, studying her with a mixture of respect and disbelief. The cartel celebrated, got sloppy. Maya pointed to heat signatures on the screen. "Their main compound, 43 hostiles. They're moving a shipment tonight." "You sure you're ready for this?" Maya thought of her partner, of the helicopter door opening, of the moment they'd underestimated what a ranger could survive. "Rangers lead the way, sir. The raid was surgical. By dawn, Los Fantasmas were in custody, their operation dismantled. The cartel lieutenants who'd thrown her from the helicopter were among those captured. When they saw Maya alive, walking toward them in full tactical gear, their faces went white. One of them whispered in disbelief, "Impossible." Maya leaned close. "You should have used a parachute," she said. "Or better yet, never should have underestimated a ranger." Later, back at base, her team wanted to know how she'd survived. "Training," Maya said simply. "And knowing that falling isn't failing, it's just an unexpected approach to the objective." She'd earned a new call sign that day, Phoenix. Because some things, once thrown from the sky, refuse to stay down.